This is Character asked it. I'm here with Firm. He is a host of a review show, a reaction show, excuse me. But nobody knows who Firm really is, bro. Firm, tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Well, in a general summary, I'd say I'm a musician. I'm a previous scientist, scientifically trained individual that went into that world and then came back to the music world, and so that's where I am now. But there's a lot of things in between. That's the overview.
No doubt. So, how long have you been making music?
Making music, as in recording it or performing it, or just like from
How
the
long has
start.
music been in your life? Like, even with your friends and things like what tell me about music.
Gotcha. So when I was 10 years old, 20 years ago, my father, who's a guitarist, he doesn't play as much now, but he started teaching me how to play guitar because he wanted to instill that in me. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then since then on, I just started learning on my own, and I started essentially just learning at the time YouTube was really taken off with like in 2008, 2009, 2010, a lot of tutorials, all that stuff. And I just started learning the songs that I liked. And yeah, I pretty much just kept in the loop
For sure,
ever since 20 years ago. Yeah.
It's funny you bring up the YouTube thing blowing up in '08 though, because I started film school in '07,
Oh, really?
and then the first kid that made like $9 million off of opening toys, that happened in
Oh, yeah.
'08, and I was in film school, and I was like, I fucked up.
Yeah, it's the face palm moment. I know. It's happened so many times.
Okay, so what motivated you to start making music? What motivated you to bring music in your life in that way at such a young age?
Well, once I started playing the guitar, learning to play the guitar at 10, and then I just knew I guess you could just call it musical talent gene or whatever, where it's just, I feel it very prominently, and it just gets into me, and I'm very aware of the rhythm and the pitch and everything. And so I was always, it just became my primary passion from like 10 to 18, basically, or not 10 to like 20. That's when I ended up switching my major in college. But yeah, I was just like, I had to do music because that was my thing I was most passionate about in life.
So tell me
And
about that. Tell me about the whole college thing. Like, so you were going to school so tell me about college.
yeah, so in 28, sorry, 2012, wait, shit, oh, 2011, oh man. So yeah, 2011 is when I went to my freshman year in college. I started here in Florida, but in the central. I started as a music business major because I was like, I'd love to be a rock star, but my parents were pretty like they, if I said that, they probably would have been like, you can try it if you want. But I was like, okay, I'll get in the business end, because if I want to go to school for music, I feel like I don't need to do that to become a rock star. You know what I mean?
Sure.
No, most rock stars don't have any musical degrees. So I was like, all right, let me do music business. And so that's how I started college for 3 semesters. Sorry, 2 semesters I was in that program. And I learned about music theory, and which I already knew because I taught myself it via the internet, like we were talking about before, YouTube and all that. And then I started to realize this is the curriculum is super easy. I'm acing everything. But the performance aspect, even though it was still music business, they wanted you to do recitals and like down the line, all that stuff. And that's what freaked me out. I didn't like the performing, being judged and all that. It gave me terrible anxiety. But at the same time, I had like a private guitar lesson tutor who primarily focused on jazz guitar. So I got into jazz at that time, which I still love. And and then yeah, so eventually I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm gonna get this music degree because I started to get into science. That's when I got into science 2 years in or a year in, and I knew that I had excelled at math in the past. I was always in the advanced classes. My mind's just always been default logic, um, rational, critical thinking, not so much creativity. So I got passionate about science and stuff, and I ended up switching eventually to physics, and that's the degree I graduated with after switching several schools.
Your guidance counselor must have thought you were crazy.
Oh my God! Yeah, when I left the school to say like they had to because I was transferring because they didn't have a real physics program at that school, and she was like, "You're going from music to physics? How does that happen?" Like I
How does
don't,
that
and
happen? How does
I
that happen?
literally I've been asked that so many times by people in the schools. They're like, "How did you get here?" But yeah, no, I was just I had like a crisis of like future endeavors. Although in hindsight, music business is kind of what I'm really about now. So it's hilarious that I didn't actually
And it's
complete that.
also hilarious that the reason why you didn't like it is because you had performance anxiety and didn't like people judging you. And not
Yeah,
that you do a review show now, you do a reaction
yeah,
show, but you're kind
no,
of judging music for a living.
100%.
So
For 100%. I would. It's not at a living yet, but it's getting
it's
there.
getting there. I mean,
Yeah,
you're trying to do it, like
exactly. Yeah, it's hilarious.
that's
So
funny. That's
but yeah, so that's how it was just a weird switch where I started to my mind. There, I had a professor it was an English professor. It was part of the normal curriculum, just like the base, whatever I forget what they call what they. Yeah,
the core
but
classes and all
um,
that.
that's it. The core, yeah. And he was like such an amazing teacher. He like encouraged like serious critical thinking and questioning in a scientific way, but he wasn't a scientist. He was an English teacher, but he had that mindset. And then I started reading like Einstein's biographies, and I was like, wait, I want to really,
Hmm.
I feel like this is very, like, it just intrigued me. Something about it just pulled me in. I wanted to learn the fundamental science of the universe, which is what the study of physics is. And I did that for 4 years after that until I got a master's degree. And I loved it. I was fully into it, but then the getting into the corporate world, it's really messed my head up. Like I was good at it. I wasn't like the type that would shirk off, and like I was very esteemed by my employers. They liked me, but I did a good job. But inside, it was all I was like, I can't. I want to just die or quit or whatever. I was making good money, and so this whole thing. But the pandemic just weirdly got me out of that in a way that I was not expecting.
Okay.
And yeah,
What kind of jobs
so
did you have?
I went to well, my degree was Master of Science in Applied Physics, so it's kind of engineering application, not like theory, like writing down equations and coming up with theories of the universe. Although that's something I wanted to do too, but that's way more involved. So, but I had an experience in material science. So I had like co-authored a paper. I'm like published technically. My name's in some scientific journals, but not big ones. But so I ended up getting hired by a prominent gemological institute. I won't say the name specifically, but whoever knows will infer it from that statement in New York City. And I worked at the lab, basically testing diamonds and other gemstones eventually looking at spectra using lasers. It sounds cool. It sounds fun,
Yeah.
and it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically just seeing if diamonds were treated to be, if they were natural, came out of the ground looking exactly like the way they did with the color, or if they were treated, or if they were lab grown, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And that's what I was doing in New York City for 3 years. I
For
worked there,
3 years, damn, that's so crazy, bro.
and through the pandemic. So there was a little break in between where we couldn't work, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So then the pandemic weirdly led you to leaving that world, is what you said.
Hmm.
And now you host a music reaction stream with like the greatest community to ever be involved in a music review reaction community. It's how?
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So after the job, I ended up leaving slash getting laid off due to pandemic related reasons. I won't get into that, but so I was there uh, towards the end where I wasn't working, but I still had the lease on my apartment, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to afford to keep living in New York City, where I'm paying over $2,000 to rent a studio apartment.
Damn.
It was a nice studio apartment, but still, it's
It's
yeah,
still
it's
$2,000 though. Like,
yeah, but more, but a little, yeah,
oof,
yeah. The
oof.
point is, I had to go back to Florida, here where I am now, to live with my parents in the medium of whatever I'm gonna do next. And so I was getting into I was watching like the music review live shows. Was like checking that out. I'm like, this is interesting. The first time, and that wasn't the first time actually. You know, No Jumper,
No, I don't.
Adam 22. It's
Hmm.
a big he's like the OG of this actually. As far as I'm aware, a lot like back when the adpocalypse YouTube happened. You heard about that?
No, I
Or like,
don't.
okay, well, basically YouTube's changed like their algorithms to like all of a sudden, because like they started finding Coke advertisements on Taliban beheading videos, like basically stuff like that, and hate speech and all that. So there was this huge algorithm shift that changed the way YouTube like
Hmm.
monetized and pushed out content. This happened in about 2018, 2017, 2016,
Hmm.
somewhere in between there. And Adam 22, who had No Jumper, he works a lot with underground artists. Lil Peep was like his boy. He interviewed him a bunch of times. He did essentially what kind of I want to do, is build that in LA though, build like that community around underground rising artists and have them talk and all that. But he said on Steve-O's podcast that what saved him during that time was doing live streams, and people would say, I'll pay you $10 to hear my song, because like he's known in that industry of
Sure.
hearing a lot of music. So he like started that back in like
Hmm.
2016 or 2017. I'm sure there was other people doing it before, but that's who I noticed first.
Okay.
Fast forward 5 years when I'm actually like really tuning in, and I'm seeing a lot of other people doing this, and I thought it was really cool. I'm like, oh, this is, you get to hear like people's music that you would have
Right.
never heard of, that are like barely, or just either just starting, or they're trying to make a name for themselves. And I thought that was really interesting. So I participated in some of them. And then my brain naturally does from the science, I analyzed it, observed it over the course of months. And I was like, I can do this because I'm musically adept in
Sure.
some way.
Sure. No, you're
And
untouchable. Yeah.
yeah. So I figured, I guess I'll try this while I'm waiting around, seeing what I should do next. And so I tried it about a year ago, right around now. About a year ago is when I started doing those live streams, and
Wow.
just people
It's only
started to
been a
vibe with
year,
it. You thought it was
bro.
longer?
Bro, you've gained some traction in a year. I mean,
I appreciate it.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
yeah, and you're a natural, bro. Like I love your show. I love your show.
yeah. Thank you
When you
so
go on
much.
vacation, bro, my whole week is thrown off. I don't know what day it is. It feels weird, bro. Like I feel like I don't have my like group of friends. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, the community, it's something special about, even though it's like, it's hard. It's weird because from my perspective, it's much different than the user's perspective, which I've been on the side, so I kind of understand that too. But yeah, it's like you feel like even though you're alone on your computer, you feel like there's input coming in. People are sharing things with you. There's a sense of community, and communication and socialization and all that. And
Sure.
yeah, so I see what you're saying there, where it's like
Well, and
a
you hop
friend
on
group.
your stream, bro. Somebody gets on the stream. Hey, what's up? You know, you get like 10 people, like, oh, character, what's good, bro? Hey,
Yeah,
and
I
like
love
that's how we
hyping
are
up
with
the
everybody,
boys.
and like, I mean, you're so focused on the song that you can't look at the every chat that comes in. I mean, that chat's going crazy.
I need a
So like,
producer. Yeah,
yeah, bro. But like, you 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 don't really experience the full like effect of the community. I don't think, in the moments of the
it's
live
hard.
stream. But
Yeah,
I'm telling you, as
no,
someone who's on there all the time, it's like I feel like I'm going to the skating rink in the '90s or something. You know what I mean? Like
hell yeah, hell yeah.
all the kids from the other schools are there. Like,
Yeah, 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 yeah. It brings in the yeah. When it's good like that. Because obviously not every minute of the live stream has that activity, but yeah, you're it's like the local, like you're at the local bar and like the guy that's always there comes in. You're like, hey, that guy, and then but it's the online version of that.
exactly,
It's a fun
exactly,
time.
exactly. That's 100% correct.
Hmm.
Um, so what has the growth of your live stream been like? What was the process of getting it to where it's at? What were the first days of
Hmm.
upcoming artist radio like?
Perfect question. Yeah. So the first thing I did, I noticed that the people that I would watch would which is mainly the practice of what everyone else does now still is like mass DMing artists to be like, I want to review your song, I want to listen to your song, come on my stream, and that's how they get the audience there. And so I didn't. That made me really uncomfortable. Like it feels like a door-to-door salesman situation. Which, no disrespect, it's just not.
And it's
It
hard
makes
not to
me.
sound like a bot on Instagram doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. All those things get into my head. So basically, what I started doing was, um, I branded it basically like the same as just live music reviews, whatever, live stream. And I had a following at that point from doing covers of songs and from live streaming video games way back in 2016, which is how I got the whole live streaming thing down.
Okay.
Um, and so yeah, so I got I got a couple people through the algorithm that would just like stop by and be like, "Oh, you're new. Let me show you my song," kind of thing. But what I would do to get new people was if nobody was sending, like if it was just three people watching and nobody was sending in songs, I would scroll through Slaps, the DistroKid.
Okay. Yeah.
You,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's like DistroKid SoundCloud or whatever, and I would just listen to like newest up releases or whatever,
Okay.
and then when I would look for ones that I would maybe like, and if I really liked them, I would DM them and say with this timestamp link of the live stream, I say, hey, I listened to your song on my stream, check it out, yada yada, and then
Genius, bro. That's genius.
yeah, because it's like I'm not. It's like I already listened to it. I reacted to it. Here it is. Instead of
Right. Like
like
this is
I want you to
legitimate.
come.
Yeah, bro. Like I already respect your music, and that I mean, as an artist,
Exactly.
someone hitting you up like that, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna be there next time, bro. Like
Right. Right. And there's the proof, like
that's a great
the
approach.
timestamp. You already. I want you can see me watching it already before you even been there. So that's how I got a baseline of stuff, and then it just slowly started to as the algorithm, and then I used a lot of Instagram promotion through like the ads basically like you
Okay.
boost
Sure.
the
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
make
Yeah. No, that's big.
the
That's big.
template like my main pinned on my Instagram, the pinned message is like basically an ad for the show. But anyway, so I kept doing that, and then eventually when it got to a point where there was enough traffic, I was like, all right, let me call it something. And then I got I was like, I wanted to be more like give it this radio thing, because radio people know radio, and it's like a fun, it's kind of like, because I got the name on the screen, like when you listen to the radio, you look at this thing, it's like, who's playing thing. So I made it in that way because nobody else seemed to be doing that. And It was just it just sounded good. Upcoming artist radio. It is kind of a mouthful, but
Not really. I mean, I
it's
think it
like
works.
yeah, it works because it's like if if you're an artist and you think you're like, oh, I'm upcoming, I want to be up and coming, whatever. So it's kind of like branded in that way.
And I want to be on
But
the radio.
exactly, that's actually an issue that's that happens with the ad because, well, actually before now I've finessed it a little more to make it more clear. But people would be like, I want to get radio play or whatever, and I'd have to be like, oh, it's not a real radio station. Sorry, it's just like, it's like calling your channel, Karikter TV or whatever.
Right,
But
right.
it's not
Yeah,
television;
yeah,
it's
but right.
internet.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense.
So yeah, that's how that. And then I've been doing that 156 episodes since I called it that.
Wow, bro, what a crazy, not crazy. What a genius approach to that is. I mean, I feel like you just put yourself in artist shoes and imagine what they would want and how they would respond to, because when they're getting, I mean, I get a million DMs and I don't even concentrate on music with them, like that guy Ben Kelly said that I interviewed. He said, don't message me and tell me my music is fire and I have lots of potentials. You
Oh,
know,
I've even got sent those, and I'm not an art. I don't say that I'm
that's
an
what I'm saying.
artist.
Like, I don't have my music on Instagram. Nobody knows I make music, and I still get those messages. Like,
It's a big red flag when that happens.
potentials, bro. You got lots of potentials.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's that's a really great approach to the music review hustle. And I think really you got in one of the last moments that you could really continue picking up traction. If somebody were to try to start a music review thing right now,
Yeah.
ain't no way, bro. They're created.
Even
Whatever's existing
yeah.
right now are gonna be the ones that blow up and be the big ones. It's still a weird dynamic with the music review streams right now because like I don't know, there's certain levels and but there's no one music
Right.
review stream. There's no one.
Right.
There's some. I mean, there's some guys charging $45 a submission, and that's
Well,
ridiculous.
yeah, that is ridiculous, depending on their audience. But as I was saying from before, No Jumper, who I think are the OGs that started, but he has a big like network, as
I'm gonna have to
like
look into them. Like
corporation.
I've looked up different review streams. I don't remember coming across them. I'll have to look him up. Maybe he was too big. I saw his size and I was like,
It's
no, they don't
yeah.
need my music. Like,
The reason why I brought that up was because I think at this point it's like $250 because they have like 1,000 plus live viewers at a time because
ooh,
he's so well known.
damn,
And
good for him.
and they don't even, it's usually just like 3 people on their phones, and it's like a very like not professional, but the
Wow.
brand recognition is
Right.
so
It doesn't
strong.
matter.
Yeah,
So is that
I don't know what the
what are you
price is
trying
now,
to
but
get
yeah.
to with your stream?
The more, I mean, I just have to play it by ear. The more it grows, but there's a certain point. There's a threshold of, because I can't, uh, in my normal state of mind, I can't do more. Like once you get to the 3 hour point and the 4 hour point, I start to just get jaded to
Bro, I
not,
bet.
and it's burnt out, and
Yeah.
if I could keep going, but I'm gonna be less sharp on what I want to say, and it's so I can't accept that many. So basically, like, the more, if it got to a certain, if it, I want it to get to that point, but my plan is if it got to like say 100 people were watching at a time and I had 100 submissions. At that point, I would say, okay, no free guaranteed submissions, like to the point where someone's always going to pay, right? So I would do like $5 to get into the queue, and then every like I would have like free ones that will be randomized, picked like every 3 or 4 plays I'd pick a random free
That'd be
one,
cool.
that kind of thing. So it still includes people that don't want to pay or can't pay, but also keep it going. But that's like that's a big step. So I don't know if that'll happen, but we'll see.
No, I know that'll happen, bro. It is a big
Oh,
step, but
hell
there's a
yeah.
lot of small steps to take from here to there, and you'll get there, bro. Like I'm telling you,
Yeah.
all, and that's the thing. Really, I think that's a kind of weird thing for you review streamers is let one of your artists that you've been supporting from day one pop off.
Oh yeah, that I would cry. Yeah, that would be that's my actually in a more like deep way. That is my ultimate goal to be like that, almost like a talent scout. Where it's like I see you, I want you to keep coming. I'm gonna keep saying your name because I like you, and then they get that recognition, and then they remember me. It's
Exactly.
like
No,
yes,
absolutely, bro. And they will, bro. I promise you. Like, man, I guarantee you. Like, I put in a song. I put in a song. If Dick McGuffin and I blow up,
Dick
bro,
McGuffin.
Firm, you're coming with me. We got trails to burn. Let's go. You know,
Yes,
like
yes.
it's you, bro. Like you are part of my journey. There's and me along with so many other people, so many other artists, for real.
I appreciate that.
What are some of the obstacles that you faced?
Obstacles. Lately, honestly, it's I get in my head about the numbers, like the especially the live
Oh, I
stream
feel that, bro.
numbers. Yeah, yeah, we're all in that same game. But live streaming is very strange in that way, and I've known this for a long time because I live stream video games since 2016, and I got to a point where I would get like 40 people watch me play
What were
games
you
and people
playing?
giving me money. Um, the main game that like got me traction on YouTube when the algorithm was way easy was a game called 7 Days to Die. It's like a zombie survival game,
Okay.
and you can be creative and like do random shit and stuff like that. So people messed with that, but then I kept doing it, and it would plateau, and then it would just drop off. And so this is more the way what I'm doing now is in terms of that live streaming aspect. It's more consistent because people want some. They're not just there to watch me play video games. They want me. It's more of
Right.
a deeper connection in that way. But the obstacle is, yeah, I'm like, well, especially this last month, like I've had a drop off in returning artists, and whether it be, there's so many factors, especially with a live stream. You have to be there at this time, or you won't, so
And it's
there's so many other
summertime
things
right
you can be
now,
doing.
bro.
Yeah, that's,
Summertime's
yeah,
gonna throw everything off for that kind of thing because everybody got a schedule
exactly.
during school time, especially a lot of these young artists. They have this routine, and then they
Yep,
go home for summer and they're going out to parties, they're chilling. Like they're not
exactly.
popping on. And I know
Yeah.
I know that's frustrating, bro. Like you have all these solid numbers, these consistent numbers, and then all of a sudden, like this stream drops off, that stream drops off. You don't get this many subs for that one.
Yep.
Um, and it's disheartening, and that's this social media hustle is it's a fickle beast, bro.
You're telling me. Yeah.
It's
Oh
a
yeah.
I mean, there is one moment where you're like, "Oh my god, it's working! I'm picking that they're
Yes.
seeing me. I'm gonna blow up." And then the
Yes.
next damn post or the next stream or whatever, you're like,
I'm shit. What am I doing? Yeah.
"Damn it,
What am I doing in my
man!" You go
life?
all Eeyore, like, "Man, nobody
Eeyore.
likes me." Like,
Yep. Yeah, it's not healthy for the human mind.
no, it's
it's really,
not.
it's
No,
not.
it's
It's really
not. But I
not.
mean, like, I think I think that it's a public version of anything that of the same thing everyone experiences on any kind of hustle they're on, any kind of job opportunity, networking thing
Hmm.
they're on. When you're
Yep.
when you're in a career, when you're in a physics career, you have days where it's like, oh man, I fucked it up today, bro. The boss
Yeah.
loved me today. And then there's some
Hmm.
days where like, I can't believe I said that shit in front of that person.
it's true. It's true.
But it's everything's an up and down journey, and I
Hmm.
think it all comes down to knowing it's going to work, and
Yes.
having the drive behind you
Persistence.
to know that it's worth all this.
Yep. You can't. That's what the grind is about. You can't let things get you down. If you once you quit, based on any type of feedback, you're done. That's it. If you quit, you quit. There's no
Exactly.
chance of it.
Exactly.
You got to keep the door open and just keep doing it. So that's what I do. I know that I'm something. There's something of value here, and it grows incrementally. It's maybe slow at sometimes, maybe faster at other times. But if I keep doing it, it should more people know about it, and then who knows, you know?
And you do it with the right intentions, which I know you are,
Yeah.
bro. I know
Yeah.
you are. You did talk about what success with this music stream looks like to you, but I
Hmm.
mean, you have a master's degree in physics. I am sure this music stream is not where your life goals end. So, what does success in life look like to you?
So, um, in terms of, well, I like to keep it in music. What I learned from my scientific career, while although it was fairly short, relatively, um, it gave me it gave me the perspective. It gave me a unique perspective coming back into the music world because I look at things even more scientifically than I naturally did, which I always naturally did. And so ultimate goal is to be like as we talked about previously, like Rick Rubin. It was like my role model of
Respect
just
to Rick Rubin, bro.
hell
He's
yeah,
my
shouts
idol,
out.
bro.
Yeah, if I ever get compared to Rick Rubin at any moment of that, my life is complete, and that is what, yeah. So like the just like playing the role of encouraging and creating a comfortable environment for artists to thrive in their creativity and
Mm.
to see it and to value it and foster it into the maximum that it could be, which is what I'm doing now, but in a small way. And I just want that to expand. So what that looks like is maybe I hope to have one day own like professional studio space where artists can come and I can work with them and make them create the best things that they have, the best versions of what they have, their ideas. Yeah,
All right, so Firm,
which is yeah.
before we die, you and we're gonna buy Shangri La from Rick
Yeah,
Rubin when he
Shangri-La.
dies, bro. You and I will own that together one day. I just told my lady yesterday, I was like, I will own Shangri La before
Shangri-La.
I die. I promise you, I will. It's on video now. I promise you, I will own Shangri La. Mark my words.
Yeah, that man.
I'm
Did
gonna
you read
connect
his
with
book?
him. No, bro, no. But
Neither have I. I was wondering.
I'm watching.
I
I'm
got to read
watching
it.
his documentary though on Showtime. He's got a docu series on Showtime,
It's called
and
Shangri-La, right?
yes, it's
Yeah, I still have to watch that.
do that, man. Like I'm telling you, he's everything you hoped he like. He's kind of like like there's this one moment where he's talking to the guy, and this I think he's like a psychologist, and the guy's talking to about like like how do you do what you need? He's like, I don't know. He's like, I'm not good at anything. I don't.
He's so fascinating.
I cultivate people. That's it. Like
Yeah.
man, that guy,
Wow.
he's a beautiful soul, bro. He's a beautiful soul. There's no doubt about that.
I know. Yeah, the fact that he like played such an instrumental role in bringing hip hop to the
Oh,
mainstream.
bro, and he did it like Ric Flair, man. Like DMC, Run DMC was all over MTV. And then he'd get on interviews with MTV, be like, "You MTV can't handle the Beastie Boys because MTV is Run DMC TV, and when Beastie Boys get on MTV, it's gonna be Beastie TV. I guarantee." Like it's
He calls it.
it's amazing, bro. It's amazing for sure. All right, so tell
Hell
me
yeah.
something unique about yourself, and there's a ton you told us already that no one already knew. But tell us some random thing from your childhood. What was your first job? What is your
First
expertise in elementary school? It's something random nobody
expertise in
knows.
elementary school. Well, my first job was being a cashier at a Stop and Shop, which is a northeastern grocery store chain. And yeah, this guy had
Stop and
I
Shop. They didn't
endured.
put a lot of thought into that name.
Yeah, it's pretty generic. but it's big in like New York, Connecticut, the
Okay.
New England. But yeah, I worked as a cashier, and I remember a moment one time where I was just always miserable because who you know,
Who wants to
and
work a
this
stop and
guy
shop?
exactly just be a cashier, but like this guy came through the line and he was like, and he clearly saw that I was like just like whatever, blah, blah. And he's like, hey, I've been where you are. Everyone's got to go through it. You'll learn from this, whatever. And I was like, whatever. But then later on, I was like, you know
Damn.
what? I'm glad I had that experience because wherever I end up, I'll always respect the person that's behind the register at Taco Bell or McDonald's, whatever. That's getting because experiencing that is really important if you aspire to become, wealthy. Because if you're born into wealth, it's easy to be so unrelated to that and just think there's some lowly, whatever. But to know like what it's like to just work a shitty, monotonous job that you hate, it sucks. And there's a lot. Most people are doing
Absolutely.
those jobs, but we need them, and it gives you good character.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
No, absolutely, bro. For real. I remember working all sorts of jobs that I knew I had to do something more, man. And that's part of the
Yeah.
inspiration. That's part of the drive.
Exactly. You get that feeling where you're just like this. I don't belong here.
Yep.
And some people but God bless the
It's
people
exact.
that have
No
a
offense
great
to
time
them.
doing
Like, I
it.
mean, bro, like, but they're just, I don't know. It's not that I was too good for it or it wasn't good. It was just, this isn't my calling.
Exactly.
This isn't my
Yeah.
calling. And I mean, damn, there are some servers that change people's lives in the course of
Oh
one
yeah.
dinner
And
because
they
they're meant
love
to
doing
do
it.
that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. It truly is.
Yeah. There's nothing to be ashamed about. There's no disrespect towards it. It's just like some people are just not made for that. But
Exactly.
to have the experience gives you a nice way to relate to them when you see them and you interact with them. You don't treat them like shit. You know, to respect that.
I saw a thing that said society shouldn't be judged on how they treat their elite. It should be judged on how they treat their poor and their low class.
That's a great quote.
It truly is. It's truly accurate. We all need to appreciate the relevancy of every human. Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
amen.
Ironic.
Yes, we're all human. Happy Pride Month here, June
Happy Pride
1st.
Month, y'all, for real. Hey,
Shout
you
out.
don't gotta be LGBTQ to rep the Pride Month, bro. I love
That's right.
everybody, bro. It's all love, man.
All love. Indeed.
Is there anything else that you want to talk about, Mr. Firm?
Um. Oh, now that you said my name again, I just realized that you never asked
Firm.
me where I got that name from.
Oh my God. All right. So
It's see,
Firm, where'd you get the name Firm?
it seems like it does seem like it's just something I would come up, right? But it's a long, it's not a, I mean, it can be a long story, but it originates from my scientific studies. So when I was in 2016, when I created the YouTube channel, which is now called Firm, was originally I called it fermionic games, which is a word from physics, which
That
is
sounds super scientific. I don't know what it means.
it's not like it's even like it's like a fringe term even in science because it's used rarely. It's like an adjective to describe a system that obeys a certain set of statistics called Fermi-Dirac statistics. Enrico Fermi was an famous Italian physicist that pioneered nuclear energy. He was the head of the first nuclear reactor in Chicago. All that like deep history. His name is in a lot of terms and stuff. So I was fascinated with him, and I'm Italian, so I was like, let me call it that. It's a fun name. Of course, nobody knew what the fuck it was.
No, for
So,
sure.
so the longer because it was a gaming channel, so Fermionic Games, whatever. And then the more I streamed and got like a little bit of an audience, people just started calling me Fermi, which is his last name. So I was like, I'll just do it Fermi. And then I was like, why am I calling myself after the last name of a scientist? So I was like, let me take the I off and call it Firm. And then, which is that ends there. But I didn't think of the wordplay until I was trying to make a Twitch account with just Firm, FERM, and it wasn't. It was taken. So I was like, well, what do they do? Well, like people put real in front, like real Donald Trump, real whatever. So like I'll call it Real Firm, and then I was like, oh, Real Firm. That's like a nice play on FIRM,
Right,
firm,
right. It's real firm. It's
strong.
real firm. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's that. And then I landed on that, and then it's like that sounds good.
That's funny,
So yeah,
bro. It would come from a scientist. Your name would come
it's
from a scientist.
it doesn't have anything to do with science now, but that's where it came from. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Is there anything else that you're launching anytime soon? Anything new that you start with the strays? Anything you want to announce right now?
Well, I'm gonna start back up the podcast, trying to do that more regularly. With the Real Firm podcast. With I'm gonna do more interviews, like person to person. But me and Rockstar Life.
Yes, I was hoping you were gonna say that, bro. I'm watching. I'm
Yeah.
watching every damn episode. What?
Hell yeah. I was just hanging out with him, and I he has a nice spot now, and I was like, yeah, we should start doing more frequent, like not me necessarily interviewing him because I've already done that
For
twice,
sure.
but just as like a co-host kind of thing,
Nah, I
just
want to
like
see y'all
we're
chill, bro.
talking
Like, I mean, y'all just
exactly,
cut it up, bro. Like,
reacting to stuff, talking about music, whatever,
for
and
sure.
then eventually I'll get other guests and stuff. But yeah, that and we're gonna do a live. We're gonna start doing in the near future a live open mic style show. That's will be used as a podcast, but also for the live experience where we'll get local artists to do open mics. Me and him will be on like a panel. I'll host it, and then we'll give them feedback and interview them after their performance. And
Like at a local venue.
yeah,
Dude, that would be
yeah,
so cool.
yeah. Film it and then put it
That's
on
like
YouTube.
music review 2.0, bro. Like,
Live, yeah,
oh, bro,
exactly.
that's epic. That's epic.
And then eventually we'll try to live stream it, but we got to test it out. And then I'm hopefully incorporate submissions from people online to play for the
That would
audience.
be so cool,
And then
bro.
we can do, but it's a lot of work to be done to get to that. But yeah,
For sure.
that's
No. Hey, I think
for
that's
the
an awesome
future.
plan. And y'all are the perfect two to do that kind of thing for real.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're cooking
Between
some stuff up.
like between your like just hardcore knowledge and scientific brain about music and everything, and then Rockstar Life's crazy ass personality. I mean, the two of y'all
Yeah.
together, like, man, I'd love to see that, bro. I'd love to see
It's a
that.
good combo.
No
Yeah,
doubt. No
for
doubt,
sure.
man. All right, unless there's anything else that you wanna talk about, unless there's anything else you want to say, I think that's about all the questions I have for you.
That's all the questions. Yeah, I think that's about it. Let me leave you with the quote.
Okay, please do.
Regarding the with the Rick Rubin on my mind, and regarding the feedback in terms of just for the message to artists that are trying to create an original sound and getting distracted by what they think people want to hear. Rick Rubin said an amazing thing on a podcast. He said he probably is in his book too, but I got to read that. He said the audience doesn't know what they want; they only know what's come before.
Ooh,
Straight
ooh,
from his mind. They
facts.
don't know. Yeah, you can't. Whenever you discover something new, you never knew that you wanted it. You're just like, oh, that sounds awesome. I've never heard this before.
You know something
They
else he
just
said
know
on that documentary? He was like,
what.
if everybody likes a song, it's probably mediocre. If you make a great song, it's gonna be some people's favorite, and then everyone else is gonna hate it.
Yeah, that'll happen.
I don't know. I love that man's mentality for real. There's a lot to learn from Rick Rubin,
Rick Rubin is the man.
no doubt. No doubt. All right. Well,
Hell
this
yeah.
has been Characteristic, an awesome episode getting to know the elusive, the mysterious, the shocking firm. I did his little intro. That's how I did it. So I keep doing it like
Yes,
that.
sir. I
Yeah,
love
man.
it.
Hey, it's been a great talk, bro. I'm excited to get to know you, and I'm excited for everyone else to get to know you because I guarantee you have hundreds of people that come on your streams somewhat regularly, too regularly, who do not know
Mm-hmm.
you have a master's degree in physics.
Yeah, I do.
It's crazy,
It is wild.
man. All right. Well, I
Yeah.
can't wait to see what you accomplish, bro. I appreciate your time.
Oh,
Thanks for coming, bro.
likewise. Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Peace up, y'all. I'll see you
All
next
right.
time.